Alright, so I've got my plan set up in a very basic way, and my 3D view, again, very basic at the moment, but that's actually enough for me to start setting up the views that I'll need, and that you'll need as well. Looking at the assignment submission requirements, you can see here you need a floor plan of each level, and then only one cross section. Sorry. And then, sorry, missed that. And then these different 3D views. Now with the floor plans, if you have floor plans that are identical, you can just have one floor plan, say for levels 5 to 7 or something, if they're all the same. And then again, the isometric views could be axonometric views. And then the perspective views, I've said here they should be rendered, but because it's showing existing elements, they don't all need to be fully rendered. I've really just left that there to make sure that you do at least have a go at setting up materials, and also checking your lighting, at least in some of the views. So I'll give you some examples on how you can set up some perspective views as well. And so don't worry if you haven't got the building complete or even nearly complete. As long as you've got the 4 outside walls done of the main building, then you've done enough to, and they're also roughly at the right height, then you've got enough to set up these views. And you can come back and add all those detailed elements afterwards. So I'm going to go back to my floor plan and start with that. So the floor plan is going to be one of the most important views. And I've got there my ground floor plan. And I'm going to duplicate that view just by right-clicking and going to duplicate view and duplicate with detailing. So there, now I've got ground floor copy 1, and I'm going to right click on that new view and go to rename and call that ground floor print. So hopefully that's something you're fairly used to, but I'm going to be repeating that process quite a few times anyway. So at the moment that view is identical to the original. But now I'm going to turn on cropping, and if you're not sure, on the view control bar, the button next to the glasses is the button that unhides your crop region, but it also turns cropping on. So to start working with cropping, usually all you need to do is click on that button, and then you will see the crop region, which is this rectangle outside of all of my objects. So you might need to zoom right out to find it, and then you can select it and then drag the border using the grip in the middle on each side so that you bring that in as close to the building as you can. So you need to keep it outside of all the objects that you want to keep visible, but not annotation objects. So there you can see I've got the text there, or the dimensions. I'm going to bring that crop region inside those, and you can see that they can still be visible even if they're outside the crop region. Also you can see the reference planes there outside my crop region, but that's okay, I'm going to hide those. So that's a really important process, even if you don't have things that need to be cropped. So you might not have buildings or other things around your floor plan, so you might not need to hide anything, but you still should turn cropping on in most of the views that you're going to print, because it's like a viewport. And so the crop region sets the size of the view or the viewport when you put it on the sheet, and generally just makes it easier to manage. If you can define that size, it's definitely going to be easier to manage and easier for you to understand what you're working with once you go onto your sheet. So I've done the cropping that I want. Now I'm going to click on the same button I did before, again the one next to the glasses. Oops, sorry, cancel that. So again next to the glasses, the crop button with the light bulb on it to hide the crop region. And now I also want the reference planes to be hidden. So I'll check to see, do you guys use shortcuts very much for things like this? This is a really useful one. So I'm sure you're all used to hiding things by selecting something. You can right click, hide in view, and then element or category. In this case, I want to choose category because I want to hide all of those reference planes. But I'm going to use the shortcut instead, so I'm going to just select the reference plane again, and then the shortcut is VH. So view hide, or VH, hides the entire category. If you want to hide just a particular element, again, when you select the object, I'm sure you all know you can right-click and go to Hide in View Elements to say hide that wall. I'll undo that and again show you the shortcut. So again, with that wall selected, the shortcut to hide an element is just EH. So EH. So VH to hide the category, EH to hide the element. Yeah. So, and I've just might redo that. And so I might just show you then, if you've forgotten how to unhide things, if you hide something by mistake and you want to bring it back, or if you've just hidden it on purpose and still want to bring it back, you've got the light bulb button down on the view control bar, and then anything that's hidden should come up in this magenta colour. And if you select it, you can either right-click and go to Unhide View, or if you look on the view control bar, you'll see it'll show you the way it was hidden. So in this case, it says Unhide Element, so I know it was hidden by element. So I can click that. Now it's gone to that greyed out display, and so that means it's not hidden. And if I click on the light bulb, then it goes back to normal. So if you're not using that one, that's a really important option, using the light bulb to toggle between called reveal mode and normal display mode. And you can actually work in reveal mode. So if you've got objects like the crop region here that you need to adjust, you can adjust them while they're hidden just by working on them in reveal mode. And they can go back and it's hidden again. So, did you notice though, when I went into reveal mode, the reference planes aren't showing? That's a new thing with 2017. When you hide reference planes by category, depends on, there's a way of avoiding this, but just watch out for this. It's something that is hard to change. So, again, you can see there, the reference planes definitely aren't showing. So I'll get out of that reveal mode and just show you as well the visibility dialog box. So do you remember this one? When you go into your view properties, you've got the first edit button there. And when you click on it, it gives you the list of all of the things in your project. So this is all of the categories of everything you can make in Revit. So they're also doors, floors, walls, windows, all of those physical elements, stairs. But reference planes aren't in this list because they're not a physical thing or a real world object. So they're on the next tab, they're in annotation categories. They've really only got those two main categories. You do have others, but analytical categories and look, you will actually work with important things sometimes, but not that often, and you definitely won't work with analytical objects too often. So again, the first two are the main ones, and so again, when you look in annotation categories, if you scroll down, you'll find that reference planes are there, and you can see that it's turned off. So to bring reference planes back, you need to do it this way, when you've hidden the category. Just because I think they assume that when you've hidden the category, you don't want them getting in the way even when you're working in reveal mode. They made a few changes to the way reference planes work with 2017, so yeah, exactly, that's it, yeah. So that's probably good enough for now, and I've got the walls showing with a black fill. If you remember, we used the coarse display for that, so that's good enough. But then my columns are showing with this concrete material. So I thought I'd just quickly show you how you can get them to look the same. In other words, have a black fill. And there's a little bit of a trick, essentially. Oh, are they? Yeah. So, yep, that's fine. So, I mean, technically I probably should change them to timber as well. But as long as it's got a black fill, that's probably okay for now. But yeah, I will change them to timber eventually. But for the plan, all I'll do now is change their fill pattern. And for these, it's a little bit different. So I'm going to just show you, if I go to Edit Type, there's no material there. And there's no coarse, not even a coarse fill option. So if I select, say, one of the walls, and I'll just show you that. So there, it's got coarse scale fill pattern, coarse scale fill colour. So I know I got you to do this at the beginning, and that's a good thing if you've done it, because that coarse option is probably not used as much as it should be, because a lot of people don't really know that it's there. Now, you've obviously got it with walls, and floors and roofs and ceilings give you the same option, but things like columns don't give you that option at all. So it's only some things give you that option to set this extra material, which is really what your coarse option is. So instead you have to do it with the material if you want a black fill. And with a column, because of the way they're made, you'll find the material is in properties, not in type properties. So it's over here, there's the material. Okay, so that's all just background. To actually change the material, all you do is select one of the columns, right click, and then if you go to select all instances in entire project, that'll select all of them. You need to do it like that because of the way the material's been set. You have to select them all. Now, while I'm doing that, I'm going to make a new type. Since we know it's timber, I'm going to go to Edit Type and no, I'll just duplicate this one, and we'll call that just the same 400 by 400, and I'll put a T after it just so that I know it's the one that I'm going to use for timber later. I can't really give it the proper timber settings until I load a new family, and I don't want to do that yet, so I'm going to leave it with this concrete family, but that's okay as long as I've got a type that I can use to select it. So I'm going to click OK, and then in properties over here you can see I've got this material coming up, and I'm just going to select that or click into that field, click Browse, and then go over making materials. And that's one of the things I wanted to get you doing again. So I've gone down to find any materials that I have that might be similar to the timber that I need in the end. So I've got a couple here, timber and timber painted. Yep, that'll do it. Yep, any of those. Yep. Yep, anything that's timber. In fact, almost anything, because we're going to change a lot of the settings anyway. So, as normal, you can right-click there to start or to copy and make your new material, just going to duplicate. So the process should be that you start in this list on the left, and again, one way is to right-click and duplicate the material. Oh, it's not. We need to change some of the settings. That's what. Yeah, that's why we're duplicating it. So I'm going to call this timber existing. Now, we don't really have to do the appearance now, but I just again want to get you used to doing these steps again. So to do the appearance, you can click on that tab and right click and replace. And if you're trying to remember steps that will always work, this is a good process. So again, once you've either gone to the right click menu on appearance, or you can click on the button there over to the right of that, of the name. You've got the button with the two squares and the arrows. That's also replace. Then I usually just start in the appearance library. The other folders have good things as well, but the appearance library definitely is a good one. And so I'm going to then go down to a wood folder. So I've double clicked on the appearance library folder. Now I'm going to double click on wood, and then I'm just going to double click on a random wood material. I'll change it to something nicer later on, but this is really just a placeholder. So I've double clicked there, close, and I've got the material assigned. And do you remember the way you can, you can just close by clicking on the cross in the corner. So not here, but when you've got this open, you can just click on the cross to close that asset browser. So I'm just going to do a couple more steps, and then I'll probably do a new video for the other things. I'll finish this up in a minute. But I'm going to go back to the graphics tab, and then for the color, I can use render appearance, and you can see it's going to just get a color from the appearance essentially. But the main color, or the setting that I'm really most worried about here, is the cut pattern. So I'm just going to click where it says none for cut pattern. So you've got none probably for surface pattern as well. Just leave that, but then make sure you click on none for cut pattern. And I'm going to set that to solid fill. Okay, so that's going to achieve the same thing as that coarse scale fill does. It's going to give us a black fill, and that's all I need to do. So I'm just going to click OK, and then if I deselect one of the columns, you can see they've got that fill. So if you're wondering where the colour gets used, we go into a shaded view. You can see then it's got that colour on the outside. So it's only using that cut pattern or the cut colour when it's in plan where it's been cut. Okay, so all I'm going to do to finish this one off is make a sheet, and so I know that there's another class that I'm taking at the moment that it has this same project, and they haven't been given a sheet size for their final presentation, so I was just wondering if you have. Have you been given a sheet size for your final submissions or for your final presentations? Yeah. Right. Okay, yeah. I mean, look, if you haven't been given one, we can set it up for variable sheets anyway.
That one's just this one. Yeah,
so, yeah, normally they might give you a sheet size.
Well, they've said the rendered floor plan's in a 1 to 50 scale.
Right. Oh, here we go.
Oh,
A1 posters. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, that's good. Great. Okay, so that's Jeanette, isn't it? Yeah, good. Okay, so Jeanette's doing a good thing for you there by giving you the new standard for presentation boards. In the past, there were lots of different sheet sizes, AO and double elephant and all these other things people were using, which are good, but a bit unwieldy sometimes. So for most architectural and design competitions now, there's a requirement that all sheets are A1. So that's a great thing, I think, because it means standard for everyone. And this is a global thing. It's started with all the international.
So we asked for a new sheet?
Yes, yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. So if you've done the first step, that's right, you can just click load, but if you haven't done that, obviously, yeah, right click on sheets in your project browser, go to new sheet, and then click load, and go to the P drive. Oh, yeah, so some of them are dropping off. So, so look, I'll do it with just the default library then, and you can easily change it to a different page later. And I might actually show you how you can make a blank page, because yeah, it's frustrating. We've got it, well, it works now. They've actually written a script for the network drives. You sometimes you've got to reboot to force it to run it. But yeah, if you reboot afterwards, it should fix it. So, so I'm going to show you though how to do it without that special library we've got on the P drive. So I'll just start with the horrible title block that you have in the default library. So this is the one you have with metric library over on the left, and then in the title blocks folder there, you'll see you've at least got all the basic ISO sheet sizes. So we can just choose A1 metric. And if you haven't tried to make your own title block yet, you'll probably be surprised how easy it is. So I'm going to show you that now too. So I'm just going to click OK. I've got my A1 metric page chosen. And so I know that's the right sheet size. Just A1, any A1 title block, because I'm going to show you how to change them anyway. So as long as it's A1, so you can just go to the default title blocks folder. So just right there, you'll see title blocks right where you are in that group of folders. Towards the end. Yeah. Okay, so before I change the title block itself, yes, yeah, A1. Yeah. Yeah. So that's good. And so now I'm going to drag my ground floor print view onto the page without doing anything to it. It's going to click to place it, and you can see, well, I think you're going to have a discussion with this one out. Having said she's done a great thing making it A1, I think that's good, normally. That's what 1 to 100 looks like on A1. So it has to be 1 to 50, doesn't it? Your floor plan. Yeah. So, and again, these are things that you should set up. This is why it's so important to set those sheets up. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's impossible. Yeah, and this is normal. Look, you wouldn't know if I was setting an assignment for someone else, and unless I'd drawn up the building fully and printed it, I wouldn't know. Yeah, you can calculate it. But that's right. Or go to AO, and then you can do 1 to 50. So, I mean, 1 to 50 is really good. For interior design, that's the scale you should be aiming for. But with a building this big, it's going to be a really big plan. You'll be, doing a little marathon to get to one side of it, and then you wouldn't be drawing it by hand. You wouldn't. Yeah. In the days when people did, drawings for buildings like this by hand, they had a team of draftsmen and draft people under the designer or the architect. So? Yeah. Yeah. So anyhow, you have to check that, and if it is different, it's easy to change it. So we can easily change this to an AO sheet, and we can change the scale to 1 to 50. If you've forgotten, when you select a viewport like this, and notice on the sheet it is called a viewport, but the border there, notice it's exactly the size of that crop region that I adjusted earlier. Now the crop region. Did you? Oh God, no, I probably got them on my mind. But no, my other half has a phobia of them, so I usually never use that word. If you again look at the viewport there, you can see how big it is on the sheet, and if you want to change the scale without even activating the view, you should be able to see in properties what scale it is. Usually it'll be 1 to 50 to start with, and you can try 1 to 50, and you'll see then how much bigger it is, and that it clearly won't fit on A1. I think it's going to be a tight fit even on AO actually. 1 to 50. I'd say the most likely at 1 to 50. 1 to 50. This is 1 to 50. I've got it up there. So that's way too big. So, and again, these are things you can set up in the early stages of your project, and that's how you then plan out your presentation. You work out your sheet size, work out the scales that are going to be necessary or appropriate for your drawings and your presentation and your layout. Yeah, I don't think it's really that realistic to have a building this size with all of it at 1 to 50. To be honest, I think it's going to be a bit unwieldy. If it's required, then you can do AO, but then the floor plan will take up the whole page, and so I don't know how you're going to. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be the most effective design presentation, and that's something that's important for your final. Yeah, that's if you've got to. I think so. If you have to stick with A1, I think the best of both worlds would be, and this may be something you could suggest, 1 to 100 floor plans on AO. I know I was saying that A1's great and it's good to go with the competition standards, but for this building, and because you're doing interiors, you're not doing architecture.
A minimum I have this size.
Yeah, that's right. And that's often the case. We do end up with bigger sheets and bigger format because of that. You need to show more detail than in, say, an architectural presentation. So that's not unusual. And I think the most appropriate for this would be AO sheets with the plans at 1 to 100. And that gives you the potential to have a nice layout because you can have room around your plan to maybe get other views, perspectives, and maybe section views. And then also you need annotation, diagrammatic elements, and all those other things that you should have in a final year presentation. So again, those are things that maybe you can discuss. Yeah, that's a good thing to try. So that's only A1 width, but obviously much longer, and that's an option. So you can. Or yeah, A1 or A, yeah, they're all. I think they're actually 1 to 100s. They look like 1 to 100 from this distance. Yeah, I think. Yeah, right. Yep. Yeah, so I think that's okay for a building this size. 1 to 100 should work pretty well. Yep. So ground floor print is the one I dragged on. So I made. Yes, yeah, I duplicated the original, not the image, because I don't want the image in there. Yeah. Oh, that's okay. I'll show you. You have to do something to set that up. I'll come and show you in a second. Yeah. So, so I just want to show you one last thing, and you don't even need the view to be on the sheet to do this. So I just want to show you how to change your title block because it's such an easy thing. I've obviously put a whole stack of them pre-made for you on the Revit library folder on the P drive, where you have that title blocks folder, and these are just title blocks I've made mostly in here. And you'll see a lot of them really are just pages with a lot of the technical stuff taken off. And that's often what you'll want for your design drawings especially. You definitely don't want a really technical looking title block like this, but you might find that you'll do the vast majority of your labelling, even your page labels and drawing numbers, in a program like InDesign. And you won't use Revit at all for the drawing labels. You probably should have your name on each sheet. You should have a few other standard elements like that. But again, InDesign might be a better tool for that. So it's still good to have these pages though set up in Revit. You might just want to take off a lot of those things. And again, it's really easy. You just select it by clicking on the border on that title block or the sheet view. Click Edit Family. And then, so you press Escape a couple of times if it won't let you select it. And then, yep. So you can delete anything. So don't be afraid to delete things from a family like this. Most of it is just logos and things that Autodesk have done. So all these things at the top, I'm just going to delete those. Table, most of the lines. Now, you might delete everything. You might decide you just want a blank page. And really all you're using this for is the size of the page. But I will keep a couple of things just to show you how they work if you want to keep them. So So I'm not even going to keep the sheet name. All I'm going to keep is the drawing number, I think. And so I'm going to get rid of all of the date things, all these other fields, and there we are. So I've just kept that one label, which is going to show my drawing number. That's it. And the inner border there, that would actually print, so I'm going to delete that too. And that's often the case with design drawings these days. You want to make them as clean as possible and not make them look like engineering drawings, which maybe some of them have in the past. Yeah, I've deleted everything except the drawing number. Yep. Sorry? That's what I'm doing. I'm leaving the drawing number there. You could, but this is an automatic one, that's all. So, yeah. Okay, so you don't need to make all the changes that you want. You can just make a couple and then save the file in a new folder. Sure. Oh, this one. Yep. Right. Oh, okay. Yep, that's right. That's fine. Yep. No worries, sure. So, yep, that's right. Yep, no worries. So, see you next week. Yeah, try and get the views set up. And you should probably try to set up all of the views that you've got in the submission requirements. Just set up a view for each one. And they're ready to go in a couple of weeks. Yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah, week 9, I think. Yeah. Yeah, just very basic materials, yeah.
Like probably the ones that we want to keep.
Yeah, that's right. And even the way things show in plan. So you know how you've got the black for existing? That's a material. So you just need to get all of the materials set to the things that you have in the drawings instead of just leaving them with the ones they start with. That's all. Yeah. That's all. Okay, so again, I'm just going to save as. And you can do this at any stage. You don't need to have finished making your changes. So when you go to Save As and then Family, yeah, you need to change the folder that you're saving in. So you just need to save it. Yep, Save As Family. So probably into your own folder. So it just can't be in the folder that it started in because you don't want to save over the original one. And so you don't need to change the name. As long as you've chosen a different folder, you can click Save, and that'll save it with the same name. And then to see how that change looks in your project, you can click Load into Project up the top, and then just override existing version when it comes up. And it's going to change any title block that you've made, or any sheet you've made with that title block is going to change to that new setup. And then you can...
How does the InDesign bit work? Like, do
Yeah, so...
drop this page directly on top of the page?
Yeah, pretty much that's one way of doing it. So you can make a PDF from your sheets and then load them into InDesign, but you might bring them into Photoshop first in some cases, and then into InDesign from there. But yeah, that's basically the process. So by having a sheet size here, we know how the plan, or we can locate that plan on this page. So that means if we're taking it into either Photoshop or InDesign, the plan's in the same place. And so you'll have this set up, well, obviously with just the existing elements, but then as you do your rendering in, say, Photoshop, you'll probably find that you start rendering and then you change the design back in Revit. And so then you can just print off or make a new PDF, overlay that page over the one that you've got in Photoshop with your rendering, and the plan and all the lines should be in exactly the same place. and then just go over the top of your rendering. You don't need to do all your rendering again. You just change the bit where your lines have changed. Yeah. So that's really the purpose of all of this. And so again, we've got that sheet set up. That's probably enough for now. And again, I'll wait until you confirm that you need an A1 sheet before maybe doing a more interesting layout. So I might just very quickly go through that process again, maybe in real time. So just making a new sheet with the same title block. And then I've got ground floor print, which is the view I set up before. And so, and I'm going to duplicate, sorry, not duplicate, I'm going to save the settings from that view by right-clicking on it and going to create view template from view. Okay, so this is one you may not have been shown before, so, but it really is useful. So it saves the view settings. But I'm going to do one thing first. I haven't hidden my elevation views, so I'm going to hide them first because I want that obviously hidden in all my views, and I'm going to also bring the section out. So I just want to get all of this right before I save the settings. There we go. That's enough. So again, you get by without this, but it'll save you a bit of time. Again, so I'm going to right-click on that view and then just go create view template from view, and I'll call it existing floor plan. And I'm going to click OK. Now I'm going to go to level 1, right-click, duplicate view. I'll just do duplicate with detailing. Then I will right-click on the new view to give it a new name. We'll call it level 1 print. And then again, right-click on my view again, level 1 print. And this time I'll go to apply template properties. And there you can see existing floor plan, the one I saved. Just click OK. And it's put in all the same settings. The only thing it won't do is the cropping. So I need to manually crop it the same way. So you do have to crop each view, unfortunately. It's one of the things I wish they would let you copy from, well, there is a way of copying it, but it's too hard. So the cropping, so this one here I showed you at the beginning. So that button next to the glasses hides and unhides your crop region. So make sure you're using that one. And but again, that's just what I do. Oh, the cropping or the. So yeah, so with the cropping, it'll hide those. That's right. Yep. So you just right-click on the view name, and then create view template from view. Yep. So. Okay, so that's just, again, repeating the steps I did before, but maybe a little bit faster. So very last thing would be to put that view on a sheet. And even that could be useful because I'm sure you're at the stage where you'll need printouts that you can draw over. And so you've got these ready to print on an A1 sheet. And when you print them out, they'll always print in exactly the same spot now, which I'm sure you'll needing when you're doing hand drawing as well. So I'll give you some time to do that, and I'll maybe do the other views after.